Hello everyone and welcome to a game I've known existed for quite some time now, but I've never shown it because, well, there was just never enough proof that the game ever actually happened. Now it's a game between Charlie Chaplin and Samuel Reshevsky, both of them extremely famous. Samuel Reshevsky, a legend in the chess world, and Charlie Chaplin, a legend in the world in general. In those days, in 1923, when the game was played, definitely amongst the top few most famous people in the world. Now, this is supposedly a game from 1923 from a simultaneous exhibition in New York, and Samuel Reshevsky held a lot of simultaneous exhibitions. Here is one of the famous images that goes around. Here is him holding a simultaneous exhibition, and he did this a while. He was known as a prodigy. And here is also a game of two of them playing. So here is Charlie Chaplin and young Samuel Reshevsky, a bit older here in the photo than the one I'm using in the profile photo. This one is 2 years younger probably than when the game allegedly took place. Now, why am I only showing it now when I've pretty much shown every game known to man that was played between celebrities? Well, it's because chess historian Olympia Urkan posted on Twitter that Vladimir Kramnik, who recently joined Twitter, posted about this game, and he did some research on the game, and he is able to shed some light on the matter, whether the game actually happened or not. So I'm going to show you the game, but I will put a link to his Patreon page in the description below. It will be the first thing you will see, where you can read a bit more about what happened here, and his thoughts, as he is a chess historian, about whether the game actually took place. But I will try and make sense of the actual game and try and figure out, well, is it even possible that such a game ever took place? Because I've done the research, not a lot. I did some browsing. Let's say it as it is. But I haven't seen anyone actually say that the game didn't take place. So they say like it's very unlikely that the game took place, but I haven't seen anyone saying that the game actually didn't take place. So first, let's see the game and then decide whether it is possible that this is actually a game between Charlie Chaplin and Samuel Reshevsky. So without further ado, let's check it out. Charlie goes for e4 and we have e5. So nothing out of the ordinary here. We have knight to f3 and knight to f6. So young Samuel goes for the Petrov defense, knight to f6 and d4 now. Now, is it odd that a d4 move is played here for 1923? Definitely not. Basically, if you've just known the basics of chess and some general chess principles, you know that you have to develop your pieces early and take the center very early on, even at the cost of sacrificing some pawns. So this is all just still just a very, very general chess knowledge. So e captures on d4 and now e5, grabbing some space. So playing like this, it would require some theory, but let's see how the game continues. We have knight to e4 and now queen to e2. Again, doesn't really make sense to block your own light square bishop like this, but if you've decided to castle queenside and you want some extreme rapid development, you're already attacking black's knight, it can make sense. So here we have knight to c5, Reshevsky moves back the knight, and knight captures on d4, now recapturing the pawn. We have knight to c6, attacking the knight and the pawn here, and while you could trade pieces here, just bishop to e3, again going for very rapid development, and you are white, you don't want to be behind in development. We have knight captures on d4, bishop captures on d4, and now knight to e6. Again, attacking the bishop here, bishop back to c3, and now bishop to e7. There is one game from 1966 that reached this exact same position where d5 was played, but here we have bishop to e7 by young Samuel, and it is as of move 9 that this position has never been reached again. So let's see how the game continued. We have knight to d2, preparing to castle queenside here, and Reshevsky castles kingside. We have knight to e4, and here d5, just going after that knight. Forgot to mention at the beginning of this game, and I'm gonna mention it now because now it's where things really get crazy. Charlie was around 36 when this game was played, and young Samuel was about 12 when the game was played. So just thought I'd mention that as well. So here d5 attacking the knight, and e captures on d6 en passant does seem like the way to go. However, here we have the instant queenside castle, and it does make sense in a way that you are now preventing capture as the queen is behind the rook on the d file. However, it is a very, very risky move. So here bishop to d7. Now capturing is definitely an option, and knight back to g3. So again, it does make sense. You don't have to like really know a lot of theory to play like this. You just need to understand the basic principles of chess and how important rapid development is. But even if you know all of that, it would still be very hard to play like this if you don't know anything, if you don't at least waste a little bit of your time on chess. So here, of course, you will now get ready to maybe play king to b1 in the future. Somehow you want to get this pawn rolling up the board, and so on. And here Reshevsky goes c5. He wants to play b5, b4, and start a queenside attack. We have bishop back to d2. Now not allowing d4, as d4 would attack the bishop either way, but also keeping an eye on the f4 square. You now can play f4 and f5 and go for some sort of a kingside attack. We have b5, and now not going for f4, continuing in this style, but rather knight to f5. And here, yes, your knight is very close to the black king. Like you have some ideas, maybe queen g4 with checkmate to follow if this knight ever moves. But okay, black just continues with d4. He says my attack is happening much faster. We have h4 by Chaplin, and now we have knight to c7, remaneuvering the knight over to d5, and from there the knight will truly be, well, a monster knight. You can come to c3, you can sacrifice it to open up lines in front of the white king, and so on. And also the knight is now under attack on f5, so here Chaplin captures on e7. So captures, and bishop to g5. Now putting pressure on the queen here. Queen to e6, attacking the a2 pawn, so there's always that. And the king to b1, a nice prophylactic move. Well, not prophylactic here, as you are you have to play it to defend, so it's not a prophylactic move, but I also enjoy it very much because it's much stronger than b3, weakening your queen side. So here we can also learn a little bit about how strong Charlie was if this game ever actually happened. So king to b1, defending the a2 pawn, and now knight to d5. Now there's a lot of pressure happening here, like the king and queen are here, knight to c3. You constantly have to keep an eye on that, and white's attack is nowhere. It's not even happening, and it's well, you require at least 2-3 moves to start the attack. And here we have g3, a move that not really in the spirit of the position. Really, I mean, black is coming for you. You want to start the attack. You don't want to play some positional chess here. Bishop to g2, of course, is the idea, putting some pressure along this diagonal, but it is much too slow. Knight to b4. Now already putting pressure on the a2 pawn. So here b3, but this only weakens your position. And now queen to a6 by Reshevsky, going after that a2 pawn. We have a4 defending, and now queen to a5. And this is a really, really beautiful position because a lot of things are possible here. For example, if white goes for something like bishop to e7, attacking the rook and the c5 pawn, you can just give up the rook. B captures on a4, and after captures here, you can just capture on b3, and it's a massacre. There's no way you can defend against this. If you capture to guard the a2 pawn with your queen, the a2 square, then bishop f5 check, king c1, and now comes queen to a1 check. That's just game. King d2, queen to c3 will be checkmate, as well, you have nowhere to go. So here after queen to a5, we have king to b2, getting the king to the second rank. Now rook to a1 will be an idea, but still just b captures on a4. And okay, rook to a1, pinning the a pawn, as now captures would happen. Rook a to b8, now getting the rook to the b file. Not really worried about anything here, as the bishop also guards the a4 pawn. King to c1, getting the king away from the b file, and now a3. There are a lot of possibilities here. You could try and bust open the position with c4, for example, queen captures, rook f to c8, ideas like that. But a3 creates a pass pawn. It's incredibly strong. You're very it's very unlikely that you will get this rook ever into the game, and it's just a terrible position for white. So here we have bishop back to d2, pinning the knight here, and now bishop to e6, now with ideas of pushing this pawn. So here we have bishop captures on b4, trading down a little bit, and here you could capture with everything. You could capture with the queen, you could capture with the c pawn, but we have c captures on b4 by young Reshevsky. We have queen to a6, now offering a queen trade, and it does make sense to do all of this. Yes, you're down a pawn, and maybe you can survive this, but you definitely want to trade queens. However, queen to c5. Again, there's constant pressure, bishop captures on b3 now the idea, because the c2 pawn is pinned. And white needs a way to defend this. We have bishop to c4. Now, of course, if captures, the queen can just capture, and the white can still dream of maybe surviving this. However, here we have rook b to c8. Sorry, that's not a rook b. Rook b to c8, and it was in this position that Charlie Chaplin resigned the game, allegedly, as there is nothing more to be done here. And this is what really fascinates me, because to resign here, I mean, you don't have to be a really strong player, but you have to know how to play chess, like, decently to resign here, to, like, you know, throw in the towel, because well, someone might play a few more moves, or maybe some more moves were played, and as this was a simultaneous exhibition, maybe more moves than this were not published. I have no idea about that. But if this is the entire score sheet, then it is a bit odd, because here resigning is the sign of a stronger player. Because, for example, let's say you try and trade queens here, queen b5, then you run into pretty much the same idea as, well, there's the problem of the pin along the c file, captures, and captures, and now it's just completely winning for black. But again, you have to be a stronger player to realize this. And another thing, after rook b to c8, you could go for, let's say the queen is also putting pressure on the pawn here, so you might play f4, but then you allow this d3 idea. That's not the only idea, there are many ideas here, but now queen here is the problem, and there's not much. If bishop captures, then you can just go with a bishop captures here, also a possibility. And if you play with pawn captures, then you just go in for a mating attack. It's a forced mating idea. Queen e3 check, king c2, you now go for another check, queen e2 check, king c1, queen b2 check, king d1, and now bishop to g4 check, king e1, and now of course queen to e2 will be checkmate. So here, after rook b to c8, Charlie Chaplin resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here, and a wonderful victory with the black pieces for young Samuel Reshevsky. Like I said, if the game ever actually happened, so far I haven't found anyone saying that it didn't happen. They say it's very unlikely that it happened, even though the two of them knew each other. They took some photos in front of a chessboard, like the one that we've shown here. While it is possible that the game was played, maybe it was not played in quite the exact same setting, maybe in a simultaneous exhibition like it's mentioned here. Maybe it was a friendly game, or maybe it was a similar game, or maybe even if it happened, maybe Reshevsky also helped Charlie with some of the moves. Maybe, a lot of things are possible, but it's very interesting how Olympia Urkan says that he's been trying to find an actual source for this game score, but despite the increased pace of digitization, searches in historical newspapers have proved unfruitful. But we might learn more about this, but until then, do check out the entire article. It will be the first thing you see in the description below, to learn a bit more about the mere possibility that this game ever actually took place. So that's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it, and the reason why I've only decided to show it now. I would like to thank Jared Linder, Richard Knapp, William Rideout, Adam Doig, and Roger Partington for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the Morphy saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world, or whenever we have an interesting, discussion idea such as this one. So thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.